The grooming gangs, I don't think that they're operating according to what Islam teaches. I think that they are operating out of a Christophobic milieu, a kind of hatred of the kuffar that in their mind justifies any action. Because the problem with liberalism is it has no concept of its own culture. In fact, it doesn't see a culture worth protecting. And that's the problem again with liberal progressive thought, is that liberal progressive thought is seeking increasingly to shut down debate. It's increasingly to state that you can't have an opinion. We won't let you have this opinion. You're not allowed to speak. And if you take away people's right to disagree, they're not going to stop disagreeing. And at some point, if there's enough of them, they might even start to push back. And that's when you end up getting in war. Because the grooming gangs, I don't think that they're operating according to what Islam teaches. I think that they are operating out of a Christophobic milieu, a kind of hatred of the kuffar that in their mind justifies any action. Now that prejudice against the kuffar is Islamic.
Do you have
but the
evidence
way
for
that
that,
it
though?
expresses itself.
I'm not denying what you're saying, but it'd be nice if I had evidence that they're saying that we're going to do this because those people are non-Muslims.
No, I'm trying to explain how it is that we've had a repeated pattern of Muslim grooming gangs who have targeted white working class children particularly, and why that has been so prevalent. It's not just that you see it here in the UK, you see it in Pakistan. Christian girls are targeted there. You see it in Nigeria. Boko Haram kidnapped all those Christian girls. Do you remember the 140 Christian girls?
They kidnapped Muslim girls.
No, they kidnapped 140 Christian girls and forced them to convert to Islam.
Yeah, but they've also done it with Muslim girls.
I'm sure they do. But what you've got, why have you got this pattern in different places of the Islamic world that are not joined by a single language, a single culture, a single economy? Like, I mean, the economy of the UK and the economy of Pakistan are very different. The economy of the UK and the one in Nigeria is very different. But yet you see this common practice. It also happens in Egypt. Christian girls are being kidnapped there as well.
So how would you then convince...
So, hold on one second. So I'm pointing out, in four extremely different socio-economic and political systems, really different, and in one of them, the Muslims are a minority, we see a similar pattern of behaviour. Why? What's the common feature of all four of those examples? Islam. So there's something about Islam that has justified, in the minds of the people that do it, their actions. Now, I don't think it's because there is a statement in the Quran that says go out and kidnap and rape children.
Okay.
Yeah? But what I do see in the Quran is lots of statements that say that the kuffar is the worst of creatures. That the kuffar is like a dumb cow. That the alim al-kitab, the Jew and the Christian, should be subjugated and subdued and made to feel themselves humiliated. Now, when you've got that kind of attitude being cultivated, is it any surprise that in Pakistan, Egypt, Nigeria, the UK, and countless other examples that I could pull out, we have this phenomena of Muslims feeling that they have the right to rape, abuse, and kidnap women, little girls from other people's communities.
So that's what you meant then when you said that through politics, the Christians came into power. Though you would allow freedom of religion, you would then curb certain freedoms. We would do more than that. Muscular Christian faith, if it was to dominate our society, right, would make all those kinds of teachings that are inherent with Islam illegal. So if any imam was to teach in the mosque that the kuffar is the worst of creatures, he would be punished.
Jail time
or
fine,
back to
deportation.
If he wasn't born in this country. Christians could introduce a law of banishment. Because the liberals are committed to the idea that you can't make someone a non-citizen.
Sure.
But Christianity believes in excommunication. Excommunication means that you cast them out. So ancient Christian practices was when someone was a heretic, they were banished. And Christians have practiced banishment for thousands of years. So I would bring that back as a way of dealing with Salafist extremist preachers like we've got in the park.
Okay.
They would be banished, even if they were born in this country.
Right. So then you would do that with the Salafists. Then what about the atheists? Would they fall into that category
because as their morality, according to some people, fluctuates. It's not based on a rigid set of laws. It fluctuates, as you mentioned earlier.
An atheist and a Muslim should be allowed to practice their own religion, fully and completely, insofar as it does not threaten or seek to attack the Christian faith.
Perfect. And that would also relate to Hindus and Buddhists, as long as it does what they're doing does not attack.
Yeah, when you've got a Salafist preacher in a mosque saying that the kuffar is dirty, that they are dumb, that they are, and they're spewing out this kind of hatred. The liberals have no answer, because in their mind they can't tackle that Salafist because that's a race issue, and that's the political correct issue, and that's why political correctness has made the liberalism of Western society weak.
That's the other thing I wanted to ask, within that society then, how would you deal with, like we spoke about this earlier, thou shalt not kill? So in the regards of the army, the military, once liberalism is gone and we now have the society that the Christians are trying to create, how do you handle thou shalt not kill? Do you go to war?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
you would invade?
St. John of Damascus said that because St. John of Damascus, he lived inside the Islamic Caliphate, and he records a debate that he had with Muslims where Muslims said, well, you're a Christian and Jesus said, turn the other cheek, but yet you Christians always draw the sword and fight us. And John of Damascus replied that that Christ did indeed say, turn the other cheek, but he also said to love one another. So when you attack me, I turn the other cheek, but when you attack my brother, I will draw the sword and defend him. So Christians are allowed to defend our own. We're allowed to defend our own communities. We're allowed to defend our communities abroad. So I'm totally in favour of intervention against groups like ISIS. And if that means invading someone's land to do that, then that's what we've got to do. You can't let groups like ISIS take territory. The only way you can stop them is by defeating them in combat, because these are not people you can negotiate with. Then, because the problem with liberalism is it has no concept of its own culture. In fact, it doesn't see a culture worth protecting. Okay. That's why liberalism is leading to the destruction of Western culture, because it doesn't even recognise that the West has a culture. Liberalism is all about commercialism. It's all about the market. It's all about the economy. And so it has sacrificed the idea of tradition and identity for economy. And so the liberal West is literally, we're seeing Western culture literally fray at the edges. It's literally disintegrating in front of our eyes. The problem with the liberals is that they're more concerned with preserving diverse communities in peace, that they're willing to sacrifice justice to do it.
Okay.
And we saw that across the north of England when the social services, the police and the politicians all conspired to keep silence against Muslim grooming gangs because they didn't want to be accused of being racist. And over 1,000 children were raped because of that ideology. Okay. Now surely a muscular Christianity would just step in
and deal with that. You've explained a lot, but I really wanted to understand the sincerity. Through democracy,
yes,
would you allow political parties that were 100% against what you stood for? Would you, if you won the election and you came into power, would you allow those political parties to exist and challenge you in the House of Commons? And they were 100% against.
Yeah, I think you would have to if you want the governing system to be a democracy. Because the point about democracy is it is a way for us to do our differences. It is the way of battling our differences without picking up arms. The choice, the option, if we don't do it the democratic way, is that we sort out our differences on the battlefield. And that's the problem again with liberal progressive thought, is that liberal progressive thought is seeking increasingly to shut down debate. It's increasingly to state that you can't have an opinion. We won't let you have this opinion. You're not allowed to speak. And if you take away people's right to disagree, they're not going to stop disagreeing. And at some point, if there's enough of them, they might even start to push back. And that's when you end up getting in war. So the thing about Christianity is it can express itself in lots of different political paradigms.
if you think about it, we went through the Roman Empire. So we expressed ourselves through the idea of the emperor. Then we expressed ourselves through kings. And then from that emerged the idea of the divine right of kings, like Charles II, and Charles I. And now we're in a democracy. Christianity is not pinned to one economic system. It's not pinned to one political system. It is simply a system of doctrine and values that can express itself in a multi-formulaic way. And actually, as Christians, we're commanded to work out our salvation with fear and trembling.
Perfect.
Work it out. You take responsibility and work it out. Same with me. That comes back to this principle of conscience again. Which day do you celebrate? Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah.
So on. But then we might do it collectively. Me and you might agree, right, we're going to honour the Saturday. Right? But then if there's enough of us, and we make up 90% of the population, we might just make it a law, right, so that Christians can honour it. We're going to make Saturday a public holiday. Do you see how it works?
Yeah, I've seen it. You've gone through democracy and you've used the majority to implement that. Yeah, fine.
Basically, I'm from Iran. I'm a persecuted Christian from Assyrian, Armenian. We had the 2 genocides by the Muslims, right? Mm-hmm. For example, in what my brother say, absolutely I agree, is that we got a European, for example, culture and laws, basically, including Magna Carta, is based on the Christianity, right? All the values of Europe is based on Christianity. While we are now, by the traitor governments, right, we're just slagging them off and giving it away, and we're accepting more priorities, for example, other, including like the Muslims, right? And what it is, for example, if you go to any Islamic country, right, you have to obey the law. You can't drink, you have to cover, you have to do the whatever the Romans do, right? Why? They come here to give the freedom, right? And what's happening is, now they sort of use and abuse him. And the thing is, where is the just? Where is the fairness? I come to your country, are supposed to basically, obey your law. You come in here, still I have to obey your law. This is not on. Right?
Exactly.
That is something silly.
And the liberals
if you say anything, you are a Nazi, racist, bastard, whatever, just basically all the stickers stick to your forehead.
Yeah.
Right? Why it is that Jesus said, love thy neighbor like yourself.
Amen.
It means you're not going to hate yourself. It means if somebody, Ali Dava, for example, told me what Jesus would say if he was here, turn your cheek. And I said, if the Lord comes, then I said, Lord, for 1400 years I've been turning my cheeks from right to left, and my enemy didn't put it on my kindness. He put it on my stupidity, right? And now my cheeks hurt. Now I'm on the front line and I'm a crusader. By the grace of Lord, I'm on the front line fighting. I'm not going to accept it. I've been basically living, I left my country 32 years ago because of Islamic law. And now I'm suffering in my land? No way.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Thanks very much.
Look after yourself.
You too.
Good to see you again.
Bye, somebody.